gold board, they are running into massive losses that you, the taxpayer, will have to pay at the end of the day.
Abay, Pasoya now Pescanda. Kind of for Yansuma minority say Mun conquer this unnecessary press conference.
The gold board has not been losses. The gold board has not been losses.
We asked the voters whether they believe that galamsey has worsened since January 2025.
All 16 regions believe Ghana is headed in the right direction, including MPP's stronghold. And I'm saying, Bessin number something before some people be opposition. Ebesini, once about me economy assemda. Yen some for nyina kwaba ebiem emma jumadi ya sanso financia and some ekoso e my Ghana mu. Many abusha panic kavu so aduomi. Yɛde nyina brae for eno chi no ye biebie nsɛm nim na yɛdi mu nkɔmɔ nkɔmɔ bebre and free minority na so ye eba wo ma ye press conference afa Sammy Gyamfi gold board ho eno chi no nkɔmɔ bebre and freche eba eno chi so no Sammy Gyamfi aba bontia ba be cheche nsɛm mu amasese me no kasei akɔkɔfa nsɛm bebre aba quick one be ram na information bi ewom no yɛde nyina abrɛ ayefo president his excellency John Mahama mampani guso badwuma sɛda bɛya oman Ghana yɛbɛfa yɛntoma pa efra yɛbɛkɔ mampani aso yɛ na yɛdi nkɔmɔ MPP amayekuo no nso ɛsɛ info analytics wɔn information wɔn de aba bɛto dwa kyerɛm sɛ amanfo gya MPP na ɛyɛ dienti ɛna ama no ɛba ne sa wɔn ne nsɛmfo bi ne aboaboa no a yɛde nyina ɛbrɛ ayefo balansana no minority no press conference no yensanko na yentiemra yenya botrabusua sansa yekoba information bi wachira abusua panic of so aduomi ede nyina ba begu ho ede ama ayefo nti quick one ori ya yenti nsam a MPP for no de atodwa yekoba abusua pani be wura nsem nim.
214 million in losses under the gold for reserve scheme is just 9 months. But there are a few other issues under that we want to draw your attention to as part of our preliminary remarks. First is to explain to you how these losses are being occasioned. Small-scale miners will not sell unless they are paid true global market prices, even if a slight discount is given to them, and at an exchange rate which the forex bureaus use. Second, the gold board therefore has to pay miners at real market value. However, gold board then sells the dollars it receives from offshore buyers back to the Bank of Ghana at the BOG or interbank rate, which is a weaker rate. Gold board protects its books by passing the exchange rate losses directly onto the Bank of Ghana. So this is not a market fluctuation problem. This is a system that is designed to make losses and for the state to bleed, so intermediaries will remain secure and profitable. For those of you who recall, when the Gold Board Act was being passed, we extensively outlined why the regulator should be decoupled from a commercial entity that could do this and make profit. And you recall that we suggested that it would be better to have a limited liability company with capital so that this doesn't happen. This is exactly what has happened now. And so far, $214 million of loss, going towards $300 million by the end of the year. The third issue that we want to draw your attention to. This is not how the original structure of the Gold for Reserves program was designed. Now let's remind the nation about what the original structure was. It was a sovereign reserve building tool to help Ghana accumulate physical gold, strengthen our balance sheet, reduce reliance on foreign currency borrowing, and gradually stabilize the cedi. Under the original design, which was introduced by the NPP, Ghana's reserves increased from 8.7 tons to 31 tons in just 2 years. And no losses accrued because BOG bought physical gold directly for its reserves and not through intermediaries like some of who we have outlined, and not for speculative purposes. Now the model has been changed, contrary to the advice and all the advocacy that we did. And the Bank of Ghana, under the new structure, under the reset, they have ceded their mandate to the Gold Board, and Gold Board has also ceded to a private company, Bower Rock Limited, which now operates primarily as a trading company, not a reserve builder. And the moment we shift from holding strategic gold to trading gold, pricing and FX risks will appear. And the taxpayer in the end is the one who has to pay the $300 million at the end of the year. Now, despite unprecedented volumes of gold passing through Gold Board, our reserves have increased only from 31 tons to 38 tons, which undermines the past 22%, just 7 tons after all this theater. Under the MPP, without this theater, we increased by 256%. This is not prioritization of reserves, it's prioritization of rent seeking. This is where media attention should be focused. And that's why we're saying that these are preliminary remarks that we are beginning to draw your attention to, and we'll share more with you as we go along. Now, for those who just hear $214 million or $300 million and consider it just as a figure, let us refuse the temptation to treat this matter as an abstract number. $214 million, that is from the beginning of the year to September, not the full one. It could have built 12 fully equipped Agenda 111 district hospitals, which the MPP started and which this administration has refused to continue so far. It could have built 30 modest hospitals or 40 to 60,000 boreholes in many villages across this country, providing clean, safe water to villages, schools, clinics, and farming communities. $214 million could have employed many teachers and nurses who are struggling to catch the eye of the government to pay or to issue the necessary financial clearance so that they could be recruited and paid. So when the government tells you that they have lost $214 million, it's not just a number. It's jobs, it's roads, it's people's lives that they have lost. But that is not the full story. Again, if you will remember, when the Gold Board Act was being passed, we spoke extensively about the need for traceability so that Ghana's money will not be used to fund the purchase of galamsey gold. Now, while the financial tragedy unfolds, another crisis is deepening. Illegal mining is continuing at unprecedented levels. You are observing on your television sets the destruction still of our forests and water bodies. Yet, we are told that the purchase that is going on is not a purchase of galamsey gold. If you check the data, the export numbers by the large-scale exporters hasn't changed much. And today, there are no other exporters in town except the Gold Board. So who is buying the galamsey gold? It's a question out there that as we go along, we will begin to point direct answers to. What is even more worrying is that in the face of this devastation, what we are seeing are statements being issued from the Gold Board and the Bank of Ghana trying to obfuscate. They rely on some words in the original IMF draft to suggest that this is speculative or that this is a significant downside risk. We must be clear. A loss of $214 million has already been made. It will be about $300 million at the end of the year. And the people of Ghana cannot be taken for fools by some long-winded statements seeking to parry this tragedy away. Colleagues, the truth about this government is that they have not introduced any superior economic ideas to governance. All that they've been doing is rebranding, renaming old things that have been done, and sometimes even hiding the details until we, in the minority, call it out for the Ghanaian public to see. Now, today, they are relying on this rebranding. But rebranding without the requisite competence and the requisite attention to the structural issues will be disastrous in the end. And so we ask, So when the IMF is no longer here by the middle of 2026, and they have finished rebranding the ideas that they inherited, which new ideas will they be introducing? Which old ideas will they now be left with to copy? And who will be shepherding them? The previous administration in January 2025 handed over to them an economy that was far larger, far stronger, far less burdened by debt servicing than what they handed to us in January 2027. Their singular instinct has been to capitalize on the architecture that was innovated by the NPP. Gold for reserves, gold for oil, gold for forex are examples. And now, even that one, they are running into massive losses that you, the taxpayer, will have to pay at the end of the day. What have they contributed? Nothing. Just rebranding. They simply took the PMMC and the work that MIF was doing and decided to restructure it under the Gold Board and quickly pass a bill to grant it sweeping powers over all small-scale gold, plus 20% of all other produced gold by large-scale miners. Sadly, without the technical competence required to operate this complex structure that they wanted to do, we are saddled with $214 million debt, now moving towards 300. And it doesn't matter whether they tell you it's not Gold Board loss, it's Bank of Ghana loss, or it's Bank of Ghana loss, it's not Gold Board. At the end of the day, the Ghanaian taxpayer is the one who has to pay. And so as a minority, on behalf of the people of Ghana, we are demanding the following: a bipartisan parliamentary inquiry into the circumstances under which the Republic of Ghana has lost $214 million, heading to $300 million, to be done here by the Parliament of Ghana on a bipartisan basis, as I mentioned. And we're asking for a parliamentary ad hoc investigative committee with power to subpoena all contracts, licenses, intermediaries, including this Bower Rock monopoly that this morning we have informed you about. Under this bipartisan inquiry, we will be expecting the Bank of Ghana and the Gold Board to publish the fee structure, the pricing formula, the aggregator selecting criteria, and all foreign exchange arrangements that they have tied to this scheme, which has led to this loss. There are also environmental issues that have to be dealt with. And one of the things we'll be asking for is a suspension of permits in forest reserves and the introduction of serious measures on traceability. Because as at now, we have every reason to believe that state money is being used to buy galamsey gold. Also, we are expecting the governor of the central bank and the chief executive of the Gold Board to appear before the committee as other persons who will be invited and to provide all the information that is required for the Republic to understand in detail what has happened and to put measures in place to ensure that it doesn't happen again. And where negligence or corruption is proven, prosecutions must follow, and all recoverable funds must be clawed back to the state. This crisis, colleagues, is not about politics. It's about whether Ghana still stands as a guardian of the resources that we have been given, and we have the ability to use it for generations unborn, or whether temporary gains will lead us to irresponsible behavior that leads us into debt and at the same time destruction of our environment. To the people of Ghana, it is in your name and on your behalf that we are doing this. To our chiefs, faith leaders, market women, students, unions, civil societies, academia, and the diaspora, your voices are the only force left to defend this democracy, to defend this republic, to defend this country. Fellow Ghanaians, gold may glitter, but the truth has to endure beyond today. May history record that when our gold was taken and our rivers were poisoned and our future was mortgaged, we all stood up in a bipartisan way to find out the causes.
Okay, Abusha, is that right? What a quick one. Young ransom because and then some doson. But I'm son and uncomoya today. Minority say, Wamun tinsem biase. but then Kojo Ponkuma e kasano me dey say all kase to the people of Ghana ay yenti ana wo mu gina wa wo mu ye press conference yi me fa to Kojo Ponkuma Ghana for yensuma minority ni say mun konkwe this unnecessary ay press conference ba quick one nsem ni
okay mama na wase na imentia yahwefo nyina na yengo so ahwese omo happy Christmas any ade mama mo no tofo na menche mu simple sa ensentrofo nche mu awoye de woka nyina ene se abetodwa se gold board no abo America dollar opepema hanu ani du 9 $240 million enti wo mo sre se gold board no beba no aba je nchirimu na ode aba obi enam na se na nam kuntu na se bia na kata shaba na woman na aboka no no ene na nipa no ye na gina temu anim no wabua afei wo mo yese de be ya abakwasem bekai se mire bi dui ensu a ye de awudro se no enuane yese ye ene ma wo kwa atwe no enipa bi so original bo ho dawro e ma wo boy se de be ye nye se setimamufo keke anasa be hwa adefo keke na emum ye setimamufo ekeke afei wasa hye se enumuo no ye hwe se de be ya Sammy Gyamfi a gold board jomtani no wo mbe frɛ no na wo matete committee bi na wo matena so no ma yehwehwemu mapa e de afa saa ensem ya abetodwa yi ebiem se ye Ghana friends Bank of Ghana na abo saa aka no se ye gold board na abo saa aka no wo mde nye ho no wo hwe de omunim ni se $214 million eka aba no enti de akwakoto bia ye ka aba to ma na nye hwehwemu na no no de ibesi so se ye Ghana fo edi munti no mu gina ha na asoma no se buro nyen koten ba bi di ne ba ye bi ene atidua bomu na so wo masoma no se wo mra
Ghana for na yasoma no
se wo mra
na se nsoma wo mo
indeed nti nin somebody to dwan but president ye wo ka no
na Ghana for yasoma
man choose ne west ni ye na so ka se Ghana for bi Ghana for the it means say nyina Ghana for nyina but me nyini say Ghana ni bia kobokojo ponkroma epona no say on sorry e bia 38.2 for no and e bia omonte ne bia say no omode abetum animu eti ka say Ghana for bi nti ana bro nya mi masori free me by then mate bia ho a ma ba begina han ma me be press conference the matter the ade ni kusi nyina ni good board o ka sam bi wom ma mfanka na me refi o se o buy ebe sesa din rebranding before di gira ho no and o ma sesa din and o moye na the writer say yes din simple sa na se edi yobo man no so a and ye meka che ndc amanyo konjondo man mama se be kra Ghana din no sesa no
ai onya sure se eye otan hunu and a minority no the time Sammy Gyamfi enu nti no mbe se omofa saade we so na omore Sammy Gyamfi ba fom
enti ne se Sergeant Bonnie ebe okuretiri mu awoto nwum what ya say sa wutan no ana opo na pesa wo wia anasa aban pesa wo ya na pesa scandal bibia ye keta hyehye eye proye bia betimi egu aban nani masesan se ache ebi nsi saada na se MPP person no ante na hyase na yi ni tie but aban we akọ so far ache se ye nya ntibie enu ntu bepe bi dia ba di branta enne no NPP bre efise eni pe tumi kinkan ne doso ana wo mo ntumi kinkan no so anya wo mo a wo mutumi kinkan kire wo masem wo mu hu ana di brighter economy ni nyina ba be si economy no so mimi maami akosua manu otija ache wo ntumi kinkan ye ebi ade mi ye wonya bi nhwe kura no wo already bottom de ade na ekọ enti bottom na edi adanse amre hu se so say you krumpo se Ghana boka say $240 million na e wo so yi nani no tran ba bi ana e wo so kasa ho the better ubefa inflation at the 53%. Wo sorry so na 22 and 23% and nay abana the about 6%. Ubefa dollar from 4 at the cost from 4 cities at the cost 17 wo sorry so na almost 15 and now abana the about 11. The better wo kon na petrol na to 1 gallon 70 cities and now abana the about 50. The better who kono na cement 1.220 cities and now ban about 75 cities. So say yes din na de niema passe ba. Why not? Say abanin se din na niema papa say mfama. Why na mfili dey?
No dey okay wo but omo so say ai 240 million be gold board ayira ya bokagu
anya no credit gold board and no no ka say wo ko wo website a wo mo de omo ni nyina ba be gu hono mo enti say wo si gold board aboka Eradi Yesu Kristo adaroma ya was special prosecutor o amra wo ho eye adwuma ke carry your evidence. Because you need evidence-based report. The better me no kase niema
IMF na dia betu dwa.
IMF na dia betu dwa na wo kan wasem. The better na asema woni mo ya kan wasem bi. Me tena ya me bobo niema me evidence mai. And go back na go check who gogo what to for gogo. Say NPP be fa inflation ndi ko do say. Wo mo ko na inflation da say.
Inflation asem ne kan. Good board.
Good me see me more evidence. And it's a winning evidence. Say Ghana boka sell 240 million US dollars now. Don't come and organize press conference about it as a year upon Kruma. Baby, I'll pay the degree. I was so winning evidence, no. Fako special prosecutor and Africa court. Now you free Sammy Gyamfi. You win any massy. You so a more minor car.
I can say, Mr. Otusu say you should state money. And they talk galam say for
the brighter. Baby say rebrand na American. My family ho. Most gold for oil and then this bell my best son. Gold board. Gold for oil no e dey na de baye. Na gold board no e dey na de aba. Sorry gold board no e ma de aba. The better me tie me ne hwan. Ana de otu okru yo krawe ne brawe o maso. Otumfo se tutu. Wo bo Sammy Gyamfi ni gold board abaso. Me ne hwan. Ana osaje force ade awadman bedudo ma ahene. Obo aban yabaso. A whole judge, Elba Ben Yabaso, the matter Mimini Wine, and a Ghanaian Sastovia would draw air cost on the idea by Nabaso. Maybe men quiet an individual, maybe Tan Mabacas and Yamankoyi. Abraham Sumibo to me say the way the near city previously, no, and then to sa, it is just gold for oil, no, near the Bay Gold Board, near the Mapa at the bar. Eti ko do pon kroma be ka chem se tama na ohwe school no na otopetro de gu ne kemo no na ban so no enne sa no oto nana. And such a yabem. It is some evidence so wo mine dia fambra ne ntwe Sammy Gyamfi fa nyina koto anim.
Ya Jimmy kura no. Dan time na eye hwanhwan baumiam na de mpo.
For you.
PMMC o se hwanhwan PC hwanhwan no. That time na no mine nkoyie no. Eno kwa no ma gold ani o ma moka. But na Sammy Gyamfi di gold board buy ya. Ama dollar ye see the hwan dey. Ama economy ni mo ya dey no. This time na ba be kase gold board aboka.
The better and near 29th. Ko dam my hodro so na kore. I was shocked. 29th minim se bro nya ba ye.
Onye sure so say e bia gold board no. Na ama sisi ame no kasai oman na yeyie enu ntina mpimfo peso mo fo soa na mo gu Sammy Gyamfi ni ma
so the Ghana for ntwema na press conference okoye ne nsema wa can go and read comment Ghanaian for na was wo mo ne soma no ko read comment de wase so se Ghana for ne soma no ko na ko read Ghana for na soma upon kroma na so me sa press conference we and some wo mo tro under the same press conference was Ghana for ne soma no Ghana for tie the later me catch now. Said ye penny said they were put on a finches so didn't support ebebomu bie. And net ye really said near my baba from when you 2 4 cabin the child and not go fado. Was it the Ghana 4 pe? And so Benya Jumaye. And near my baba from more. Say Uncle Bansa and ni bread to a bed John Dramani Mama 2016. Say ni brandy a come down at the body at Tiawo. Ghana for Ribi Biao. The old say, Obenya Jumaye. The one say, and never from and Tiana the Oyan Candocno, the Oya Coco, near Oya Toko, near Oya Obrayo, near Oya capital letters, a brand not 1,000 to and now Abroswa or 450. And to send the Pansa 240 million Yamana must say, Irano, and Fan Obey. The better, and now one and none Becca when now way one more panel, 130. I will chrome to say. What chrome? And I'm say, I'm shocked. Because a near 29th, and name himself 29th for the Brunya Nanka at least 24th, 25th, 26th, our Ghana animal. Meaning, sir, and nay 29th for the dear Brunya. But the better, and Crofu Usu Eddie General Jack. Because, yeah, no, Mr. General, I know what I can tell a chance and I won't say General Baswanaso. Oh, did Jack, Eddie Guhono, and you my boyful. I am not saying, sir, be 100%, but for now, Mummy, by Nabaso. Ye unnecessary press conference no NPP ntnase omo rebrand wo mo said you was NDC buy omo rebrand niema ama niema ekoye no they themselves should rebrand themselves and now omo NDC na NDC mo omo rebrand wo mo said you buy niema betimi akonkan and ye tie ya moni abra mo ya press conference de ekwakusia ne say 31st mo koto aba na mo de ama Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia say omra no obedi manim na say Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia ba no obedi manim a inflation to 53 emuja no 20 6 and now buy ba 6 no dollar to 17 muja ne 15 abana dia ba 11 no sese ba omia be de no abebo motoa.
Quick one, yenko tie Sammy Gyamfi nsem ne mra. Sammy Gyamfi abekasa. O se ai MPP for say. So Sammy Gyamfi waye adwuma boka gold board na boka yentwen. Ai January February no won be audit. Ebe piem. Ntu de so aboka mpa wo de yentwen. Yentie no mra.
That I think there are some preliminary issues that we need to clarify. The impression is being created by some, not your panelists per se, but by some, as though the Gold Board has made losses and is shying away from acknowledging that it has made losses. Alfred, the Gold Board is not a typical commercial venture established for the main purpose of making profits. The Gold Board is a strategic corporation with two objects: foreign exchange generation for the country and supporting gold reserve accumulation by the Bank of Ghana. And that is why, if you look at the Gold Board Act, nowhere in the Act is the word profit used, rather the word surplus is used. We are mandate-driven and not necessarily profit-driven. And so if we even make losses in the discharge of our mandate, we will be very happy to concede that and to show how that loss came about and the benefits of that loss, if any. And so nobody is shying away from losses. Facts are sacrosanct. The Gold Board is barely 8 months old. Per Section 76 of the Gold Board Act, it took over the assets, liabilities, contracts of the defunct Precious Minerals Marketing Company. So for the first year that the Gold Board has been in operation, our financials are available. We have not made losses. We have rather made surpluses. And we have published our financials as required by law, our quarterly financials on our website. And anybody can go and check. So the IMF has not said the Gold Board has made losses. And it is important that we put that matter to rest. The Gold Board has not made losses. And if the Gold Board makes a loss, the Gold Board will not shy away from that. The reason why the lawmaker in drafting the Gold Board Act did not use the word profit and loss is because that is not the main object. You understand? And so why would we even shy away from that if we've made losses? We have made surpluses. And latest by February or March next year, when external auditors audit our books.
Yeah, Sammy Gyamfi nkasa wie. I enkomo wadi quick one yenwu.
I simple. Dear Sammy so kanyina ne say, Gold Board botaye. Anya ne se omedidwa. Wonya mfa so pewa. Enu nye the main purpose. And sabia ko to bia ne wo di dwa so no nya mfa so obeka so wompe. Na mo botaye titiri no say, wo mo mra no mmehye mo kena. Sani yebɛyɛ sikasɛm ɛwɔ ama no ne foreign exchange ye local one no ebetimi agina ne naso na nneɛma ayɛ kama ɛwɔ hɔ no and indeed ɛno no ɔmbɔ ɔse acha February empanyimfo a wa bontena kan sɛ forensic audit ye wɔn bɛba no ma bɛhwɛ mu wɔn bɛhwɛ mu a sɛ wɔbɔ ka o so wɔn ka o mu bɛhu and indeed no Gold Board mpanyimfo no nya kyenkyenkyen akyɛn na na mekanka bi a wo mutuo sen ko maboka enko mo nyintumu se bia o mayam fomso bi enti o mo nyintumu da bi na mum no ente sa acha February ye nyina ye wo ha ye behu ne ensem no esitie ne tofu aboni ani ne tofu aboni ani and the writer me can the chill play but I Sammy Gyamfi di true just say no nti ne edit Gold Board no wa meeti anaso meeti and the foreign exchange na etesai and Ghana sikasam ye fie na etesai wa meeti amana broso enu nti na ahemfo ni nti ne atwetwe wuro e wo mamu no wo mu guso de abaso bode de mano se na no good for oil buy ye hu mfaso bi e buy enu kra na ma oil no boy ye den a ne eto akoto ba ko 25 cedis ye wei ya mfa nkoje oil na mo me ne ye tie fie ene ye si ye di gold dwa enso oil no aba enne 12 a nkrofoto a wo de ye o modwuma from 70 cedis 1 gallon no aba 50 cedis ye enti 1 mp we ya obo e che se Gold Board no botaye ni empremprem tepia ya na make am very careful pa because obi nim de ebesi wachina but empremprem ya me no kasa die nobody nobody can dispute that fact. Say good board no botaye this scene and so say womra no man from no or meaty. This will be a work so one kind of crown quasa de doma and a kind and I so meaty. Indeed, what meaty artists a BPA coye at the myofia empire was down him. Sa tres sameno 3 square no. They should be very, very careful. NPP by your margin so one bed to be begin sending any no more prosecuting. I had 3 Samis. Sam Okujato, Sam George, Sammy Gyamfi. One more nipa miensa, one more hard drain, and 1 PP abanum pa.
Na say oh patcha say I Sammy Gyamfi, Sam George, Sam Okujato. One more NPP for target.
I'm telling and some woman suru na woman pray na. Sam Okujato abrakwa foreign affairs minister, and you the break it Sam George and so Sam Nate George in go pram na shebedwani ono so ekura communication aspect one mo anya adwanketwa and Sammy Gyamfi akwada yi 35-36 and wo di whole gold board America say eno and Ghana esi so say simiche de ne nam yi one na hye and some previous government na omo di NPP nya pa no sankrofo miensa untumi nkan NDC nipa 5 obeyi wo mafi mu because Okujeto abrakwade na waye ne ho anas aremi yaw anas na ne de anya se wakotetaw no de abed video atoso na wabaye voice edit de atoso okura ne nkrata na de abetudwa even na ndan kwaku fado ko toilet kura no timu no toilet color na de abetudwa evidence based report na de aba hwe Sam Nate George de ode ye eslewusu eben communication aspect one ma kwan you first ode ye eslewusu ama Ghana fo nyina hu se wo mu buye wo mu area yen Sammy Gyamfi the least said about that guy is better because eben communications are otumi kwachi mpanyimfo no do makota TV so radio so no oma yesen kwada evidence based report hwe NDC 360 no obegina so no analyze niema no acheche mu enti wo mu di NPP nya pa no sa 3 square yi wo mu ka ho pa and NPP ayo maju so mafi wo mani sei and wo mu hwe sankrofo miensa we the little mistake a wo mu be ye enne e wa mamum no wo mu be sere dia fa wo mu ha enti I will advise these 3 Samis so omunye very, very careful. I will dealings. Yes, so only Mutim and Tia Monkum. Ya pint ya boa koto, now a pen baby no aquacoda. What I say, anti Sammy Gyamfi should be very, very careful. No one in Yemena pep. Send beya, Emre Bibedruno, or Monfak can sit any coboacaso, no moon and say, because all bright future.
Quick one. And Samuel and a Musa Dankwanso Namoan were any post. And ye I ochinchi o my Ghana mu nyina busebusa nsem a ana amanfo de nsem so tutu nanim yesi ababa todwa se ai Ghana ai yene eto aba no 87% pe ena se galamsey no akosoro ewo ai afrem 2025 ena me se enti MPP 38% na wo mu nyaaye no 1% kwa sasa tie fizuo ai quick one wo de enti we mrekoba ebedi nkomo.
What about illegal mining? Because that has become very topical. I remember even asking the president, Mr. President, placing a ban, declaring a state of emergency. What is the problem? Why can't you declare? And civil society also raised those concerns. People talked about illegal mining. What is the data saying concerning the illegal mining fight?
I remember in the heat of the argument, I think around October.
Yes.
You haven't done poll on Galamsey, you are afraid. That's all. We do our polling in a certain way. So you wait. When the time comes, it will be out. So we asked the voters whether they believe that Galamsey has worsened since January 2025. That's when Mahama took over.
Yes.
Yes, it's gotten worse. It's 37%. Says it's gotten worse. No, it hasn't gotten worse. It's 47%.
Okay.
And I don't know 16%. So by 10% margin, Ghanaians believe that it hasn't gotten worse. But the beauty of it is that we kind of brought the data to see the mining areas, non-mining areas, where the views differ. Sometimes if you're outside the mining area, you might think, oh, so the views may differ. Now, if you break this down to mining and non-mining areas, in the mining areas, those who say it has gotten worse, the same as those who say it's worse nationally, 37%.
Okay, Mr. Right, 37%. One more to aba say I galamsey no, I worse. 47% so say that be I John Mahama ne na ban wo mabo mo modin papa ntuya ai MPP 38% na wo mu nyaaye no kwa no eso asate ba quick one nwura.
Okay ma me hwe we say sorry said ye rand ya to no na said ye gina mfimfini ye 10 we 10 ni free on my best 37 omo chese ene ma ekoyie kakra e che first no ye 47 and omo chese abro so che first no enso e ye 37 and indeed so be a fair analysis e dey afasa gram say issue one the brighter so we na no de na adanko akufado asrafo okote wo mo se wo mo nko na wo mo nko patantokwa yi na wo mo resa ne be ye nkrofo mfa kote kwa so endi dwa no ani nsam efa wo mo obeto dwa na obegese we ye too early na nso samre no san mus no yenti sansam ane ye te adifa anti-galamsey task force na adanko akufado ete ye e bedrum na bi na ko ba se ye so wo mo koje damdie na wo mo mpada na wo mo wochemanfo na wo mo wen krofo mo mo ye illegal mining no ye nyanti bi amfamfri 9 months and so we so one machia ko do to the send say empo emrase bedwafo wo mo ye MP NDC ni ne ho akwakwodi masotifi so wo be kai a ene ade eni so wo keka ni nyina bomu a menni wo mo a wo mo se eniema ye che first no eye aya adwene efisa so wo nkodin aban we ade asem na no kwasem ne esa ono ne kon no so far so good awon keka no eye esen na danko akufado ade no ebi ayenim ye be ko forward no na ebi ye be ko wura batuo mu no 2027 ne 2028 mu no ebi omo so be na danko akufado mu de ni bi yenyo yemiem na yempani empeska yemfa be yemanyosam de abade yenya no
but akufado mu pen so 2024 say enka omo ye suppose we a that time no 37% we sure say enka ye benya
oh Debbie one more no say anka awasen no to be frank about 37 no because how be kaya sa time de nya kura
kwanke betumenya 70% o
sa time na survey awodo ba ye nuane bi omo sia kodi US wo mo aye rihwemu a mercury nom ane sanan nom ne nubone nom ne ade bi ewuwo mu sa time na nsuo ni nyina na adu stage a Ghana Water Company say so omo de 1 gallon ene de ye nsuo de maye ne a e so omo fa be say 50 sa time no de no kwasem ni sa time na survey yi e ba ya na se musa dan kwaye ya kebebo 37 ne se de ehu no it say enei no se de make na enei from January no to December ya na me ni wo ye die wo chena ne ma be sande I don't know but for now no de so wo ye fair analysis a me ne sa 47 for no eye adwen e wo ho no mo e wo se aban nye nempes ye nyina na ke ye pe no enya nkoduru saade but so far a modern bo e wo galamsey kon no I think say e top notch editor previous government
na wo mo analytics no wo mo to aso ye info no na ababa piem se ai ure ehwe screen so o say the MPP is losing significant ground among highly educated voters, trailing the NDC by 22 points among tertiary educated voters. Quick one, Jimmy Nko.
They are walking in any. E maybe 1 year size of it and was says subim. And then one more madrimudo. One more nimbuku. One more mako school no. Say no. So we remember MPP were actually NDC actually move as a 25 as a 22%. Our they actually MPP mu. Now yes and intellectuals and tenting in tiemu. Intellectuals and NDC sen NPP. The matter.
Me tiemu ya. Womo a memfa ne se womo ko school ni titru emabunu no womo se womo free MPP eko NDC
the brighter identity enko bansa and NDC are attractive to the stand say businessman bia obeyi nanim se bi obedi MPP achi no na e wo the future opese MPP nya adodode ene adamdi obenyi obedi nti I will be very surprised say no be ko East Legon no na adwadifu egu ho business mugu fu egu ho intellectuals egu ho no mo ebe choose NPP ahead of NDC so me kai a abana ye 2024 no ukona akore East Legon a NDC FI East Legon ho no mo eti de wo kanyina ne se enne wo mo mutumi kenkan no wo ma ko school no titru mabunu na eba na ikona no wo mu NDC mum se NDC attractive na wo de yakoba ne center and no one say propaganda be a Dennis Miracles aboaje ahase on say NDC for near 38% no one mun so boapa akọ 2016 say NDC enya 34% the brighter minu mienu ye nyina ye nim so ko 2016 aba it is never true and the entire enne ye mu bi ka say NPP nya 38% e 2024 no ya kire mu de ya kire wo senti ayeka and no wo mo sheda ko back abia wo fa wo fun we now ko gogo now body shame 2016 presidential election result ebe yaba among percentage of both candidates no obi anya no Dennis Miracles aboade etimi akwakofa ade abasa 34 John Mahama nya 34 amenne wotumi de abenya 56 dia eye possible said Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia ebetimi abenya 56 2028 no de awini the brighter wo yeseya wo dipu unsu no wo yeseya uma intellectuals na wo mudi wa manyokuo na chi no ehunu se ese wo pa a kire se wo mabon omunim akenkan na omunim se de esi arewre niema because akura ketro kura ya wo ne nge no sesu wonim na ofa no fon se de makire wa wo de ekogogo search ba ho no boshem se 2016 presidential election results in Ghana na hwe results beba se John Mahama nya 34% and ne wo de no abetum enti besa ema intellectuals na wo chi nyina wo se wo pese wo ba ye se wo mo ntimi nkenkan enuti no wo mudi wachi wo na go and read comment under those posts enti wenum nyina ya niema ana atro no we nyina ya atro
na me nhye dem hu bi da unja for de ye papa mpanimfo wo ye nananom nyina wo ebi omu de omahu bi da minim se we first time wa ai minority ne ba be kasa na Ghana for say di wo matem unse nka minority de wo mo wa ban mu no se minority ne be kasa Ghana for nyina mo na ko support minority no ni soja gu aban ni chem but this time some minority no ekasa
na Ghana
for say di wo matem
ni nyina ye tententia wa kofo ka asem bi wo se ne Ghanaian illiterate no wo mo ni ate wo ma drimo bie enye kane no a na mo de politics of lies ade dada nkrofo na nkrofo nim no ene de breta obi na ma wokura wiase no won nsam obi na ma wokura wiase no e won nsam enti gisa de wonya na dwe se obebo no ho so no wakenkan ye sa nipa ndi obetimi abun simple no obi obo no so bia no medical catcho me ma me won school da but na me ma me kodwomu a o kodi dwa enti se wonim se de na previous government ni edwasiti a ene set person ma no mahili wo da ebi na me dia example de egu a me dia ma wo no enu na ma NPP ebre no ti na me ka cho se omu ya sa rebranding na akojo ponkroma se NDC sa rebranding niema and omu ye NPP mo mu here rebranding more than that because I never read the caliber of people a NPP anim those who talk about the political party of NPP don't dey come ko for NPP pa enei won se Sammy Gyamfi dia na omo kaye won mo ankasa kurom ho no abronya kra ba be Sammy Gyamfi aba so who are you ana na wo ba banyu Sammy Gyamfi enti amen intellectuals ni nyina ehunu se aya atro ana mo de ayam policies ade aba be sine enti wo fo ne fo a wo hunu kure wo mu enti won fanya enu na mo omo bra no nya bibia
ai ose musa na nkwato aso di nkomo no enti urewe a ose all 16 regions believe Ghana is headed in the right direction, including MPP's stronghold. That is Ashanti region. And you said I'm quite patch. You said I 16 regions ni na say Ghana. Just say anyama ekoyi. Na mpo Ashanti region mpo krano. Wamu kubusa wana musi anyama ekoyi under John Mahama government. But quick one. Unsu chemu ye.
Ashanti region. Ejadi 4 Ashanti region enipa to anuane Ashanti region enipa ekoma no ni kodidwa Ashanti region enipa the exchange rate didwa Ashanti region enipa the inflation didwa and Ashanti region no eno so ye Ghana fo mu nipa wo mote hono enti anei no de ono no so ogbo MPP do no e wa Asante Mantem Bantama Revolt no kra no se no fuwa ne ka 4,000 and about 3,000 1,000 no obetimi de adibronya wo fie nti such person no I will be very surprised nanka ebe mama
ba se first na omoye utimi se ai mama enye me koye pa but Ashanti region die wo mu support NDC da
ya kanena se na American and then nipa ne abie the better no obi anu achieve for some pakodu enti na me se besi nemre something before some people be opposition no ebesinni won se ba o mietimi aka economy asem da won se ba o mietimi aka economy asem da ene utum wo mutimi ka economy asem de ganto to wo ba de wo ya ne se na ya pension ya ton 500 and then that's why 500 wo mutimi ya no womun to me can economy na sem ye because baby na mu obia na o matete so de abafom and Ashanti region so ye nipa wo mo ho no mo a sabi wo mu so di dwa di brata ukọ Ashanti region sabi gronto enye ye Asante fon kwa na yete wo mo from antini wo mo si zongo ye wa anuga ye wo mfanti new town ye wa aswase ni nyina wo ho no ye wo bia nso hene e wo ho no enti sabi obia di dwa obia to ade obia re akora school obia di inflation ye adwuma obia di exchange rate ye adwuma ebeye din ebeye nwanwa senke ho no mbeba be ka se e bia ye de enkoyie ade na nko mo nya nipa na omte wo mana enti munsa na nkwade ode aba mimi kofi di me ka se ye nwanwa na mboa enye me nwanwa we so we nya ade a nwanwa ko ka to ani kura na ati se ya uchimu se regions ni nyina obia enjoy bro nya hunhu regions ni na hunhu takwade tema Accra Kumasi
na o kai se bronya ne ade awie so amanfo dedi
ne 29 me se kona kore brama bransa na minya ka ade abaduma nya sam ketwa unya ka mafuka ba miensa na mje bedua 29 bronya 29 ale tena so me fuka miensa na mde be adwuma mafuka miensa na mje bedua e kire se ne me ekoyie enti enei na ye no ya mo na baso de me bom pa ne se aban ne behwe ene de hia me pa nurse for teachers for wo market ya mo salaries akama ye adwuma 12 months no ene 9 months na wo munya nwie ye no na nse wo motua bi ombe na wo mo maka no nso no wo mo nso nsa aka wo mo de na wo mo nso atimi ya enjoy bi eno nko na me bo ho mpa se aban ne be na afi nu youth no wo mo real school wo fi na anya adwuma because and then the brighter I'm telling you oko hospitals awodo any cheap compounds awodo any clinics awodo na wo mo lack nurses enti wo mo real school no so aban no so betimi ya employ wo mo any teachers no makoye adwuma eno nko mpa bo na me bo now apart from that the brighter for now so far so good ai eyepa anenko yima
na bronya yi ene makọ sei
brighter afia to ye as usual me de me mu na ene me bayira mpisi na ko bi tato
na ai pizza no se wo de kemetoma wo de koma o yire aha
me de koye wa kan jiran ensam ade agu obi bia ne ho wo pizza no mu no wa kan de agu so ene ade a me de koy a wadie
na udi bia na
dabi wani bi obi sa na obeka cho me mpe pizza mi adenti na ye
se wo no pizza na nkasa kwa wo mpe dada
me mpe
aha ti wo mpe
me makame dia cho se me nyame ban na me nyame ko bi kwa nso so ani kontomire
ana pizza no kwa no ukura wo ntimi ni udi bia nya ye
adenti na mintimi ni ade bubo odua guso ana o modua nguso na ne adenti na mintimi yime na se ba ni kura me yiri dia medi me yire ntimadi o sere me yiri dia medi me yire en ni nyina nya die bia nya die
untu sika nto pizza da
me se
abusua menim no abusua me se ni sika onti nto pizza da
me yire minto bi ma da ko bi zanza minto bi ma da
o to na me o ache that 2 years ago na that time na open for frana
o da bi ya ware awie kura
ena o si na auto pizza no
oh na unim na first pregnancy o de we de ma menka ba ma menye mo ba da
no anyi mo ba
na ye ware ye na after 3 months wan ka so pe pizza na onyem ye ena me am ye se meto pizza no ene flour
na u pa de ka on to da u pizza u ko tit na 200 cedis to pizza
na wo kan na wo pa je
dabi o se da o si tie no
me comment an kam toy
ana me chew se o to you no o betu sika to pizza ka de beto cement
me wo sika na ko toy
ana me chew se bibi ntia
na bibi ama obi ko to bibi enya bibi na ma obi ko to bibi se bibi ama nke ko to se pizza we
abusia o de beto pizza no so o de beto cement na minim se pizza sika 200 cedis esi dan a
na one free 200 no no wa mo aboa no a ubede no akwa konya 10,000 watimi akota asase you have to start from somewhere what you say bro nya 2 days nya ne yedi awie enya na say yedi awie ye ne ekoba obesia didi bro nya omo do market ye nyina di bro nya ye January nim acha ene 29th wa 30th ukwada 31st ye wada first ne ewuram mo ze no enkona eko school o betua school fees o beto school mpaboa o beto school ntade o mo canteen emai o light bill water bill edan kamai na so di bro nyina berry pizza wo wia no ka che free run sa wo sre no wo di usika to pizza ma were eti wo ma umre kakra na ade aba betua dan no na so wo foundation na unni ene o sigina nifa ne bunkum a enti na wo sa wo dwene wo ka to coat according to your size nya o ti pi naza no na so di akire no the auto pizza dia man yere no pizza 200 dia man yere no ebi a wo be se 20,000 den kire baby na wo why some me go that to amete yi na wo nya 200 dia da botuma wo to de koto pizza dia man yere no pizza nan kasa kra no kra enye healthy sa adie na pizza
I want to see you healthy.
adie na pizza healthy e some ya wo ma sesa dia ye pizza we wo koto pa no na atwu kosu ya che ma pizza no
So na broni be gina so obeka to say so bayere na wudi ni fufuo sa fufuo no eno so nya healthy.
Broni bia ni ho so wo betwi kontomire kwanso so ada so wonya ama ni tire dia twimu
Fufuo is starch.
wo guso
Fufuo no starch.
na fufuo no nkwan na ka ho ne na se carbohydrate hia na me cheze pizza no enye ade a eye bibi ayi bia wo se ade na pizza ka wo de tena fie na wo ye meat pie kra na to kokuto so na anom ya enkaye enti wan o pizza auto bi ma yere auto bi ma yere auto say
Me man to pizza ma me yere.
auto den
So wan ka so pe.
nti dia na ato ma yere bronyan
Me to aponche.
wai
Ono are.
me na se me bisa fra wo yere sa na no fra be yere fra no fra nie misa punch wo dia fra se sia atiefo tie fra no mensre fra no nie ntie because I was here na no nia na me yere no a fra no me wa na no wo ka se aponche fra nie misa ani ntie aponche kura wo to ye de ma wo na ya ka mbe fi at least bro nya no to aponche nda ben aponche no to nda ben aponche no to nda ben 24 and I say 29th 5 days the wo fridge ma cameraman ko yimra ne mfa camera nto so ne mfa nkire 5 days wo aponche ni nyina mpisi yare frɛ no no ompeke no pientie na minu mienu yewu oye da pafo eza wo mi
Who say me metuma twantro. Wo dey say wafaje waje ne nkasa.
oye ma ji say
Nyame adum fa sonso
nyame adome wo fiana
bajai
aponche da be na bright koto aponche be fiana
nane 3 days is 4 days
aponche a yakunu dada na amana mbeku no
omwana kuku no hwe
Messi kanu kro na ade minim se ode o ye no kwafo
Nyame ni huni za mensuso me mi kantro chiro
tina mi bisa no tina mi bisa
me kra na ma ye surprised me da no se o kotola ampani ampa oba omwana be chiche mu anu nyana se we die me so bona ba so ya ade
sa
pacho
ni tina ne na nyina ne ye mu ade ne ka ho
me pacho bibia ye ita
Sure, aponche sure nyina ka waya. Enasi.
Mrs. aponche no ba na be ma. Aponche no ba na be ma na.
Busa no won gina so no.
Messi aponche no ba na be ma.
ade da be ma ye be ma
Aponche be ma. Ne no twa wom. Busa no. Ni twa no ko ka se mema na awie. Won na chem se ni twa no mema na awie. Di na obetire.
Ente wa ya dia na. Minyi ni o. Minyi ni da. Cameraman, o de aponche be fia. Okay. Ene ma je di. Anti wunye ehu. Ade eno aye, wona auto aponche ba ko de ma ira na wa ye den. Ade eno aye nwanwa no nti se nwanwa nti de. Me wonim de to me to na ntwie da me to ye. Da bi me yere wada se ne ho mfa no nti wada. Nti ye frɛ kwa ye nya no. Ba bi o kra network ye adwuma. Ye frɛ na
Ye mfro ira na.
ye frɛ na ye nya no.
Afo, ye mfro busuan ira na.
Ye nya no me to na ntwie mwa. Ane ye to ya. The whole area me kun man crofo kra bari bi. O sere na aya me gwana me. Ye kun the whole area am obi aba bari bi. But
Obo.
why are they? One are the aduane and one ye. One are the aduane.
O see the ba na ye boys ya no bi wi ye. Ye born apesie.
Sa ho.
What you say?
Mama kokko ho.
Ye de niam asisi ho.
Di niam asisi ho.
Mot.
Na me obi an kan jo se kan de kro. Eniam a odi si ho sa na mot na adi si ho an ka kan straight. Wo kan ye de niam asisi ho am repeat o de niam asisi ho na fe na wo be ma explanation. Eniam be na mu de mot si ho ye niam. Obi e wo tie bi ehu niam kro adi si ho.
Niam bia